Howdy, brush monkeys. Cameron from Country Fried Minis here to fill y'all in a little bit about this fabulous project. I've been watching Tom here in the Flying Monkey studio paint up so many fantastic sculpts from Reaper and got so inspired that I reached out to propose a collaborative video feature. After a bit of discussion, we've settled on this amazing dragon summoner sculpted in 54mm by Julie Guthrie. She's such a great piece for painting in a larger scale and one that's just right for a mini diorama. I can't recommend this model enough, and I can't imagine a better way to celebrate this new year of the dragon. Anywho, I'll kick it back over to your regularly scheduled program. Take it away, Tom.
Good morning, brush monkeys. Tom from Flying Monkey Studios here, and I've got something a little different for this week's video. A little while back, Cameron from Country Fried Minis reached out to me and said he wanted to do a New Year, New Dragon project where he was painting dragons from Reaper miniatures and wanted to collaborate with me on this project, which I thought was a fantastic idea. So we started talking back and forth, and he finally settled on this figure, the Dragon Summoner from Reaper Miniatures. She's got two dragons. She's got one on her shoulder there and one behind her. And I've got it kind of held together with blue tack right now to show how it'll look when it's finally assembled. But we both got the same miniature, and we're putting our own take on it, doing our own thing with it. So I've got something kind of cool planned for this gal, and hopefully Cameron does too. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this off and get started on it. All right, see you in a bit. Bye. All right, so this video kind of shows the, or this shot kind of shows the composition of what I have planned. I'm not going to use this little piece of rock basing that came with the figures. I don't need it for this. I've got holes drilled in the bottom of this plinth. I've got the top sanded off. And this is just kind of mocked up how I'm going to have it. It's based on a piece of fantasy artwork that I saw some years ago with a woman with two dragons in kind of an autumn scene. I want to say it was a cover of a book or something. I don't remember. Haven't been able to find it since. But I got the tree set up for it. I got a hole drilled for the tree there. This dragon is going to be a little bit further back, like right about here, and then she's going to be standing here. The whole ground cover is going to be texture paste, and then prime it, and then we're going to cover it in kind of autumn flock. I've got a couple different kinds of flock here. This is similar to what's on the tree, but it's a little spongier. This is a little more kind of gravelly sawdust flock. I'm going to use a combination of those two, and then I've got some red flowers to go around the base of the tree and whatnot. And I think that's going to look really nice. I think it's going to break it up nicely. And the dragons are going to be painted blue, both of them. She's going to be painted up. I've got a paint scheme in mind for her. Her hair is going to be red. Her bikini and leathers and whatnot are going to be hardened leather and snakebite leather. And then, of course, we'll have the tree there. So yeah, that's how I've got this planned. I'm going to texture paste the top of the base, and then I'm going to stick the figures back down on it so that it'll leave footprints where they're supposed to be. And then I will probably drill out the feet of the two figures so that I can, excuse me, so I can put a paper clip in there and attach them to the cork that will hold them while I'm painting them. So yeah, I think it's going to look really nice. I think it's going to be kind of a cool little project. I'm really looking forward to getting started. So I'm going to go ahead and go do that then. See you in a bit. Bye. Alright, so as you can see, I've textured the top of this plinth, taped it off first, and then textured it. And that'll keep the texture paste and the paint from getting on the wood itself of the plinth. Plinth is a really nice kind of reddish brown hazelnut hardwood that I think will look really nice with the autumn colors that I've got planned for it. I've got a bunch of toothpicks stuck in this hole to preserve it for the tree. I've got toothpicks stuck in these two holes to keep them open for her foot peg and her staff peg. And I pressed the feet down onto the base. You could just barely see her footprint right there, and a couple of the dragon's footprints over here. But I'm going to let that dry, and then once that dries, we'll prime it. In the meantime, I'm going to drill out their feet and start priming them. So we'll see you in a bit. Alright, just a quick update. As you can see, I've got her foot drilled and pinned. I've got the dragon's foot drilled and pinned. And it's got a little extra glue there. It's a little sloppy on the glue, but that's okay. Neither one of those pins is going to need to stay really long. His pin will probably still be used to pin him to the plinth, and you can see I've drilled another hole and stuck another toothpick in there where his pin's going to go. Her pin I may or may not keep. Haven't decided yet. I think it'll probably go right about there if I do. But it can be snipped off, and it's not going to interfere with the structural integrity of the figure at all. She's still got a little peg on her base there and a little peg on her staff that, when super glued into the base, will hold them just fine. Those pins are mostly for the corks that I'll be using to prime and paint them. So I'm going to replace this blue tack on top here, and both those pins will be pushed through the blue tack into the cork, and that'll give it a nice stable base for priming it and painting it. A lot of the painting is going to be done with an airbrush, and that'll kind of help hold it in place there without it falling around a whole lot. So I'm going to go ahead and let the glue on those two dry and the texture paste dry on the plinth, and then we will move on to the next step. All right, see you in a bit. Alright, we're back, and as you can see, we've got the base primed, and it's just about dry. Still got a little bit of wetness to the texture paste. I probably should let that go for a little bit longer, but it's far enough along that we can move on and get the tree planted in here. So I'm going to loosen up these toothpicks here. And they were just there to hold the tree, hold the hole for the tree. So then we're going to use Gorilla wood glue here. Doesn't necessarily need to be Gorilla glue or even wood glue. You can use regular school glue if you like. Sometimes it's a little bit obstinate to open. There we go. But we'll just take that. Squirt a healthy amount down in there. And if you get a little too much and it squirts out when you put the tree in, that's not a big deal. Because you can always clean that up with a little goop around it anyway. Flocking and what have you. Okay, open it, then pour the glue. Okay, so that's pretty good fill. I'm just going to stick the tree in there like that. Get a little extra there. There we go. Okay. So that is going to fall over like that. So we just take it. And what I like to do is I like to use a glue bottle and prop it up until it's done drying. But as you can see, we got a little bit around the base. Again, not a big deal. We'll just spread that out a little bit. Toothpick. Here we go. And when we go to put the flocking on, we'll put the flocking on over that. There we go. There we go. So then we'll just put the flocking over that, just like everything else, and it'll come out just fine. I want to leave these other toothpicks in here to hold the holes for the pins, but I think that's going to work out really nice having that tree right. Okay, if I stop moving the tree around, there we go. I think it's going to work out really nice having that tree there, the autumn flocking. Again, the summoner is going to go here, her other dragon is going to go here, and then the whole rest of the base will be covered with this kind of flocking and these red flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and let that dry. In the meantime, we have primed the Summoner and her dragon, so we're letting those dry. And if those are dry, then we'll get on with the painting. All right, see you in a bit. Alright, so we're over here at my spraying booth, and as you can see, I've got both the dragon and the dragon summoner primed in white. They're both used Army Painter matte white spray. Now, the way I'm going to do these is going to be a little bit tricky. This dragon is getting an all-over airbrush of Imperial Blue. This dragon is getting brush painted Imperial Blue, but I'm going to airbrush her skin. That way the brush painting, because see, it's kind of on top of her and all twined around her leg and everything, and it's going to be a huge pain if I try to airbrush that with her skin in the way. So I'm going to airbrush her skin, and for that I'm going to use, I've got that's the Imperial Blue and the Fang that I'm going to use for the highlights on the dragon. And then I've got Hexed Lichen, which is like a really kind of dark purple that I'm going to use on her shadows. And then when I go to do her skin, she keeps wanting to fall over on this. When I go to do her skin, it's going to be this Daler Rowney FW ink of Flesh Tint. And it's a nice little flesh color. Needs to be shaken, but this goes through the Sotar 2020 airbrush really nicely, and so I'm not anticipating a whole lot of problems with these. Gonna go ahead and go airbrush those, and then we'll come back and see how they look. All right, see you in a bit. All right, I'm back, and I've got the figures airbrushed, the airbrushing on them. You can see the blue dragon came out really nice. These are really spiffy. Got that Fang highlight that's kind of subtle, but not too bad. The flesh of his wings is going to be kind of a tan color, and so is the underbelly and the spines and the horns and all that. A lot of brush work left to do on this guy, but for the most part, the scale's pretty well done. I'm going to do a dry brush of blue, and then I'm going to do a once over with the blue dragon scale, and then with a very light coat of silver dragon scale to kind of make them look little icy winter dragon kind of guys, and that's going to be both of them. The other one I still need to do the brush work on. The skin tone ink is a little more yellow than I would normally like. However, it makes a nice sunny skin tone base that I can build on with my other skin tones to get to where I want her to be. I think this is a good start. You can see she's still wet in places, so I'm gonna go ahead and let her dry overnight, and then tomorrow we'll start in on the brushwork. So that's what I'm hoping for anyway. That's the goal. So I will see you soon. Bye. All right, so we made some more progress on our girl here. We got the skin tone done, and a little bit of her face and makeup done. Got her lips painted with the brown rose. Got her eyes painted with the oak brown, or mid brown, excuse me, wash to kind of bring those out a little bit. I'm going to paint some ivory into the eyes and, paint the eyes and all that kind of stuff. But that's later. This was very much the definition of trust the process, because it, excuse me, I'm kind of multitasking here. So I started out with a very bright kind of yellowish skin tone with the ink, and you can see that on the staff and the dragon's wing and all that. And that's what I started with. And then I layered that with Vallejo Model Color Basic Skin Tone, which again is very kind of yellowish pink, and thought that would that'd work for it, and it did. It looked okay. And then I put amber on there, Army Painter amber skin, and it kind of muddied it up a little bit. It looked a little more brown against that basic skin tone than I really wanted it to. I wanted it to look a little more bright and sunny. So I gave it a wash of the skin, soft skin wash. And then I went over with Iraqi Sand, which is kind of a paler version of the amber skin tones, still that kind of brownish tan color. This turned out to be a little more on the grayish brown end of the spectrum, not really a flesh tone kind of thing. Looks okay when it's a base coat by itself, but not so much by itself, or not so much as a layer on top of other things. And then I did Corpse Pale, which is a really nice, again, through the bottle, looks like a very nice pale skin tone. Turns out this has a slight greenish tint to it. And so she looked kind of dead, which you would expect from a paint called Corpse Pale. So I didn't like that. I didn't like how that turned out. And if I had quit there, I wouldn't be happy with the way this thing was going. But it turned out okay. I took some Reaper. I know you can't read that label very well, but it's fair skin. It's a very pale skin tone. Layered that all over on top of her, and now she's looking much the color that I wanted her to look. She's a very pale skin tone. She's going to be redhead. Her bikini and thing are going to be, the loincloth there are going to be snakebite leather, all that kind of thing. So I wanted it to be a very pale skin tone. So I think I achieved that. I think she looks pretty good so far. I'm going to go ahead and do her, I'm going to do probably the hair and the eyes next. And then we'll get into the clothing and the jewelry and whatnot that she's wearing. The dragon I'm going to do last because it's kind of all around her and on top of everything else. But it's coming along really nicely. Speaking of coming along really nicely, her blue dragon companion here is looking really fantastic. Again, I did airbrushed him with the Imperial Blue highlight with the fang, and then I went over it with successive dry brushes of Emmerich Blue, Skink Blue, and Ethereum Blue, and then gave him a dry brush of Blue Dragon Scale and Silver Dragon Scale. Just kind of bring out that kind of metallic tone to his scales, and I think that looks really fantastic. His belly scales, the leather on the wings, are going to be tan, so I'm going to hold off on that for just a little bit. But yeah, he's coming along pretty well. I really like how he's turning out. I think it looks really good. So far this project is coming along pretty nicely. Still have a lot of work to do on it, but it's getting there. So, see you in a bit. Bye. Okay, made a little more progress, and again, had to trust the process. So I was doing her face and her hair. The hair is not anywhere close to being done. It's just had the Flesh Terror's red put on it. Her eyes, on the other hand, I went to go do the ivory on them and went a little too far on that eye with the ivory. So I went to go clean it up with the mid-brown again, and forgot that I was working on another project off camera and that I had put some Bismara black on my palette, and where I thought was the mid-brown was actually the black. So she ended up with this kind of goth eye makeup thing going on here, which is fine. Still got her eyes painted, still got the green painted in them, and it looks pretty good. The lips still look good. So up next, the hair is going to get a dry brush of Astrath red, and then Riser red, and then probably just a light dry brush of Hexios Pale Sun, just on the upper highlights. And I think it looked really good. Also did her, you can see I did her nails and her toenails with the Flesh Terror's red as well. So again, she's coming along, she's making progress. And like Bob Ross said, there's no mistakes, there's just happy accidents. So, so far they're coming out okay. See you in a bit. Alright, we made a lot more progress here, mostly because I kind of let things get away from me. As you can see, we finished her hair, painted her bikini and the straps, and her sandals, all in combination of snakebite leather for the bikini, whatnot, and the hardened leather for the straps. I still need to do her upper armband, but I got the rest of her jewelry done in Palomino gold and bright gold. I decided to use green as a spot color on this. So I've got a little green gem there, green gem there, green gem on her bracelet, green gems on all this bracelet. And I think it looks really fantastic. Her staff is done with the metallic blue dragon on there, signifying that she summons blue dragons, hence the blue dragons. Haven't started on this dragon yet, but that's coming up. And then on this dragon, I've got his underbelly, his horns, his claws, insides of his wings, flesh on his wings, all that, and his eyes, done, eyes and teeth, done. So over all this, this was all Iraqi sand. I'm going to go over all this with pallid bone for a shade wash, and I think that's going to look really nice when it's done. And then this guy will be pretty much finished. And I wanted to get this guy done before I started on the other one, because this guy's going to be the pattern for how I paint that one. So once I'm happy with this paint job, then I can start in on this one. I think it's going to look really fantastic. So up next, I'm going to do that armband on her and get that done. And then we'll start in on do the armband, then the pallid bone on this guy. And then we'll start in on the other dragon. All right. See you in a bit. Alright, boys and girls, so we have done the pallid bone on the dragon's wings. And you see it brought out all that little detail in the folds of the wings and the underbelly, everything. And he looks really pretty spiff. So I'm really happy with how this guy turned out. I went ahead and matte sealed him. So he's ready to be put back onto our base, texture base. See, on the other hand, I've got something about that wire being stuck in the ground that just wants to make it pivot. But I got the dragon at least base coated with the Imperial Blue airbrush paint. I'm going to let that dry, and then we'll hit it with the fang. And then, as you can see, I've got the Iraqi sand, the pallid bone out for the wings, and the 3 blue dry brushes that we used, and the dragon scale out for his scales. And we've got both the big and the small dry brushes for each step of that process to get in where it needs to reach. But yeah, it's coming along pretty nicely. She's almost done. I just got to finish up that dragon. So like I said, I'm going to let the airbrush paint dry for a little bit, and then we'll come back and hit it with the fang and let that dry for a little bit, and we'll finish up all the blues and tans. All right. See you in a bit. Bye. All right, so we've got the young blue dragon on her finished. See where it coils around her leg there on the back. Same kind of coloring as the larger blue dragon. He's got less horn. He's a younger one, so he's got less horns on his head. And he's smaller, but he looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how he turned out. So for that, I'm calling it done. We're going to go ahead and let that his shade wash on his I think still wants to spin around. Shade wash on the wings is still wet, so I'm going to let that dry, and then we'll go ahead and glue her to the base. And then we will start in on finishing up the base. And you can see we already have the other dragon glued to the base. So she's going to glue in right there, and then we'll cover the whole base with the flock and the flowers and what have you. So I'm going to take a little break, and then we'll come back and get that done. See you in a bit. Bye. Alright, so now our Dragon Summoner is finished, matte sealed, and glued onto the base. You can also see I've added some of the flower tufts, and these are red flowers from Gamer's Grass, excuse me. I like these because the shapes of the little tufts are kind of irregular, and you know, they're not uniform. They're not uniform round like the Army Painter ones. It's one of the few products I actually prefer over Army Painter's version, but that's really nice. I like that. I'm going to let the glue dry on her base, and then we'll come back and add the colored flocking to the base, and then we should be pretty close to being done. So, see you in a bit. Bye. Alright, brush monkeys, there is our finished dragon summoner. I think the blues and her skin look really good against the autumn colors, the reds and orange of the base and the tree. I think that really came out looking nice. I'm really happy with how this turned out. So, thanks for watching, and hopefully at the end of this video I'll be able to tack on Cameron's and see how his looks. So, looking forward to it. See you soon. Bye.
Wow, Tom, that looks amazing. I can't believe the amount of detail you've managed to pack into this happy little mini diorama. Your choice of the autumn colors really complement the dragon's paint scheme, and I especially dig that you chose to make the blue scales cohesive across the pair of younglings. The amount of effort and care that you put into this miniature really shows. I think that this model is perhaps one of the best ones I've seen from Reaper in a long time, and she sure was a blast to work on myself. Swing on by Country Fried Minis if you want to see my take on this model as well, and don't forget to subscribe to Flying Monkey Studios for more fantastic work. Join the Brush Monkeys today. Painting up this here fabulous Dragon Summoner model was a true blast. She's just the right size to utilize the best tricks in blending and shading, all made easy due to the wonderful 54mm scale, which really makes certain techniques so simple. I was really inspired by Tom's mini diorama to try hard and make a fun little base. I felt obliged to do my best to match the quality of the work coming out of the Flying Monkey Studio. I hope y'all enjoy it. I sure did.
Hey Brush Monkeys, Tom here. If you like what you see, click like down below. I think it's over on that side. If you want to be notified when new videos come out, click subscribe. New videos post mostly on Fridays. The regularly scheduled ones post on Fridays, but you know, if something comes up, I'll post something anytime. So go check that out. Click like, click subscribe. Both of those help with my YouTube numbers. If you want to rock some of the Fly Monkey merch, like a t-shirt, long sleeve t-shirt, sweatshirt, hoodies, masks, whatever, go check out our merch store at storefrontier.com/FlyMonkeyStudios. If you want to support me in other ways, there's my Amazon wish list. Feel free to check that out. Check out our Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook accounts. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye.